Well, first of all, thank you all for being here today. My name is Sharon Pillar. I am the executive director and the founder of the Pennsylvania Solar Center, and I am joined by my colleague, Gretchen Dugalecki, and she is really to thank for this whole award ceremony. She puts all these together and does the lion's share of that work. And I know a lot of you have been communicating with her, so just want to first thank you, Gretchen, for all of your work to make these ceremonies happen for us. First, I wanted to share a little bit of information about the Pennsylvania Solar Center. I know some of you know us, but others don't. And we do these award ceremonies periodically, about 3 or 4 of them a year, making our way around the state to different regions or counties to lift up the solar leaders in the area. And I'll talk a little bit more about our Lodestar in a moment, but I did want to share, if I can, there we go. This is our team, you know, half of our team already, and Matt Mahoney's our Director of Government Affairs, and Leo Kowalski is the Director of our Get Solar program, and we're actually hiring a couple more people to help with that program. And our mission at the Pennsylvania Solar Center is that and our vision is that Pennsylvania becomes a leader in renewable energy. And we accomplish this through unbiased and trusted guidance. And our goal is to help all Pennsylvanians benefit from solar in one way or another in order to create clean energy economy and to create more resilient communities. Some of our financial supporters, which we're very grateful for, from the Hillman Family Foundation and the Heinz Endowments, and a number of company supporters, and of course individuals that we could not be here doing this work that we do every day. The Solar Center is, we have a 3-legged approach, we say. So we really are walking the walk and actually down in the trenches and providing technical assistance to the commercial sector. So largely nonprofits, businesses, and now starting to work with municipalities and schools to help them through that whole process. And we have our outreach component and public awareness and education, and our policy education and advocacy as well. So on the technical assistance, like I said, we were helping individual organizations, businesses and all those sort of non-residential projects if they need help through that whole process. And so far, what we do is we help explain the process to people, and then we'll put the project out to bid to developers. And we try to provide those bid opportunities to Pennsylvania developers. And so far, we've put out to bid about 12.5 megawatts. We have 2 megawatts of almost installed, closely we get installed by spring projects, and we have a large percentage of them have just gotten their bids. So they're making their way through trying to understand what the financing is and identify that and how to move forward. So we're really excited. Just in those six projects so far, it's $3.2 million of private investment have come in through for that process. But we've now also moved into a process called Get Solar Communities. So not only are we working with individual nonprofits and businesses and all those organizations I talked about, but we're now working with communities and community leadership because they really understand those networks and what we say social capital in those communities, and they can tap into them and try to encourage those businesses, organizations, schools to go through the Get Solar process. So we had Meadville was the first community, and also the Triborough outside of Pittsburgh of Etna, Millville, and Sharpsburg. And we just selected another 4 communities who are right now in this process of Indiana Borough and Indiana County, Wilkinsburg, Carnegie, and McCandless Township. Those 3 all in Allegheny County. And we'll be expanding this in the coming year. So we're really excited about this program. And we really feel it's a great way to galvanize a lot of solar at once. And as I mentioned, we're working with schools now too. We're partnering with an organization called Generation 180, which is a national nonprofit. And they're reaching out to schools and pushing them to our Get Solar program and trying to get them through that process as well. So we've had a number of schools that we're working with and really excited about that as well. And sort of that second bucket, and largely Gretchen is mostly responsible for a large portion of this. But we, of course, have our website with lots of different resources on it for all solar stakeholders, and we're still building that out. Of course, the award ceremony. We have a monthly newsletter and a monthly webinar series. We actually have a webinar tomorrow about a landowner guide and a guide for municipalities for large-scale solar development that are in the works. And then we have a developer directory as well and other resources that we hope that you might use as well. And then on our policy advocacy, we really track every piece of legislation that's solar related in Harrisburg. And we have a guide from this past 2-year session, and we'll be starting a new 2-year session here in Harrisburg. And tracking those and educating legislators about the benefits of solar to their constituents, and so that we really enjoy our policy work. And Matt Mahoney, as I said, and I do spend some time in Harrisburg with legislators. I think this, it might be a couple months old. I realized as I'm talking now, I did not update this slide. So we do have a little bit more solar in Pennsylvania than what is here. But you can have an idea of it. We have probably about 35,000 solar installations. Most of those are small scale residential systems in Pennsylvania, which is a little unusual than a lot of states. And that came about early on with some grant money, the Pennsylvania Sunshine Grant money that came out years ago and ended in 2013. But that really jump-started the residential solar market here in Pennsylvania. And actually, compared to a lot of states, we don't have that much utility scale solar yet, but that is also really expanding pretty quickly in Pennsylvania. We have really close to 5,000 solar jobs in Pennsylvania, from installation to manufacturing, all across that spectrum, from real estate developers and engineers and salespeople and financial and legal people. So it's really a very diverse industry that's employing quite a few people. And we have enough solar to power a little bit more than 90,000 homes in Pennsylvania, but we're still ranked about 22nd in the nation, and we're the 6th largest state. So we have a ways to go here. I really kind of want to show you what the distribution of solar is around the state. This is from the Public Utility Commission that monitors one of our pieces of legislation, which I'll talk about. But you can kind of see the dots. They show the size of the installations, and it's really hard to see some of the smaller ones, which are the light green. But I guess it's probably not surprising that the urban areas have more solar, but particularly the Southeast, they really started more movement in the solar. And then Allegheny County came a little behind that, but we are seeing this expansion of solar really throughout the entire state now, as people are trying to save money on their electricity bills. And tonight we're celebrating the solar in we say the Westmoreland region, but not to downplay all of the Blair, Cambria, Somerset, and Westmoreland counties. Westmoreland does have the most solar of those counties, but we are seeing this rapid expansion through all of these areas as well. One of the drivers in Pennsylvania, because we do work on policy, we always like to talk about it. The Alternative Energy Portfolio Standards, AEPS, were passed back in 2004. So that was it's going on to almost 20 years. But then that policy says that 18% of our electricity has to come from alternative resources. And it says by May of 2021. If you notice, that was a little before today. And we've met that goal. Out of that 18%, 8% largely must come from renewables, and that includes solar, wind, low impact hydropower, geothermal, and a few other resources. But largely that's from low impact hydro, solar, and wind. And 0.5% of that has to come from solar within Pennsylvania. So back in 2004, that was a pretty aspirational goal. Nobody knew what solar could do. Now, as you can see what other states are doing, our goal is very, very low and not really, let's see, keeping up with the Joneses. So we would really love, of course, to see that. When we that goal has been met, that 8%, but only 1.5% of that comes actually from Pennsylvania. The rest of it comes from resources that are in our grid, which is the PJM grid, 13 states, and the District of Columbia. So obviously, we'd like to see more of that solar come from within Pennsylvania, and that's where a lot of the jobs are coming. So we would like to see that change as well. But, and again, here's some of what the other states are, of what that was their goal. I just showed you. Here's actually what they were installing. And you can see these other states that are not as big as Pennsylvania, really just ramping up in such a big way. And which is of interest to most people on this call because you have solar in some way or another. That policy drives the price of the renewable energy credit. And increasing that goal would actually probably increase that credit value for the current owners who have solar, but also for future solar owners too. And that's really an incentive to make to incentivize people to go solar, one of them. So we really feel like some of the policies that really would benefit all Pennsylvanians, in addition to increasing that goal, would to be established something called community solar. So if you're renting or you don't have a good solar roof or property for solar, that you can subscribe to a solar array somewhere else in your community and get credited on your bill for that. And of course, there's a lot of federal programs now that were passed this year, and there's going to be a lot of need to figure out how to use that money that's coming down, that's coming to the Department of Environmental Protection and their energy department. So there's a lot of help, even that communities are going to need too, about figuring out how to use this money coming down the pipeline. And then, of course, we're always trying to advance business models and incentives that speed up deployment of solar, and then lifting up all of the stories to decision makers and to other people around the state, which is what we're doing here with the Lodestar Award. And I just want to share why we're so excited about solar. And obviously, there are environmental aspects to solar, and a lot of you have gone solar because of that reason. Often we don't talk about those so much. While they're important to us too, we do really focus on the economic opportunities of solar. And, you know, I showed you we have almost 5,000 jobs with just a 0.5% solar. If we move that up to 5% solar or 10% solar, we're talking about tens and thousands of jobs, billions of dollars in private investment, and electricity cost savings that really help everybody, because once we get so much solar on the grid, that shaves the cost of energy for everybody. And that's a really exciting place to be, particularly with increasing energy costs. And we can talk a little bit more about farmland, and you know, there's a little competition for farmland and other uses, but we do feel like solar that's staying in the hands of a farmer is sometimes helping them save that farmland. And then, of course, diversifying our energy. And I'm not going to spend a lot of time talking about these things. That's not why we're necessarily here, but you're all making these things happen because you are participating in this solar economy, including those jobs and private investment. And I also, the other reason that we're excited about solar is that it helps to diversify our energy mix. We don't think we should be reliant on just one or two energy sources. And so the predictions right now are that natural gas is going to be our dominant, I mean, it is our dominant energy mix for electricity. We we'd like to see more renewables on there, so there's a little bit more hedging against some of the volatility that natural gas prices have. We believe that we need a very diverse mix of energy resources, because we think that protects consumers and also security issues as well. And again, I've mentioned farmland. Some of these farmland and solar can coexist in many applications called agrivoltaics. Here's sheep at Susquehanna University at their solar farm. And there are a lot of solar developments that are now exploring this opportunity. And again, I mentioned that we think that solar can help actually preserve farmland. Most farmland, about 70% of it, has been lost because of low density housing in Pennsylvania. And once that land is sold for from the farmer to some other development, it's most likely forever lost. Where solar can sometimes help save that farm and allow the farmer to continue farming other portions of their land, or sometimes, and we hope this is a growing field, that they'll be able to continue agricultural uses among the solar panels. And lastly, on this piece, people are excited about renewable energy. This was a survey that was done by the Center for Rural Pennsylvania about the attitudes of energy. And so this is both rural and urban, really across the whole the state, about people are excited and really do see this future. And they really want to see us in Pennsylvania investing in this future. So I'll stop with all that and get to why we're here. um, the Lodestar Award. So the word Lodestar was used by navigators to help them guide their navigation, many eons ago. And now that word is often used to, and we're using that to recognize people who are leading the way, just as those stars helped navigators to do a long time ago. So we recognize and we understand, because we're doing this and walking this walk with other organizations, that sometimes this isn't an easy path to go through to make these decisions. And from some of you who've been doing this a long time ago, was a lot harder than it is now. So you've really are showing leadership, not just within your own organizations, your businesses, municipalities, but that is spreading out and providing those inspiration for people way beyond your organization, and showing and giving people the courage to say, oh, well, they can do it. I can do that too. And that's really so important. And we know that's one of the biggest ways that solar spreads, is that other people have some connection with it. So we applaud you for leading that way, and we want to recognize you. We have a small, a sort of a small group here today, but we are using all of your examples beyond tonight, in the videos that you've sent, in the case studies. And so we're really excited to lift you up and your stories. So again, thank you for being here. And we're very honored that we have been joined by the Honorable Representative Louis Schmitt, who represents Pennsylvania House District 79, which is part of Blair County. So thank you so much, Representative, for taking your time and being here with us.
Oh, it's my pleasure. I appreciated the invitation. After I make my remarks, I'm going to jump off, not because I have another commitment, but we have an intersection here near my office, which is in downtown Altoona, right across the street from the cathedral, if anybody knows Altoona. And they were digging a trench and they broke into a pipeline, speaking of solar, they broke into a gas pipeline, and the gas has come into our building. And it's okay now because they have the doors open, but at 4:30 they'll close the doors in my office building, and then it gets to be pretty hard to tolerate the atmosphere in here. So
oh no, we don't want to keep you.
It's okay right now. I'll give my remarks. The ironical thing is, the project at this intersection was funded through a Green Light Go grant that I got for my district. So I actually brought the money in that's going into this project that directly led to the gas leak here in Altoona. But I'm really glad to be here with you all this afternoon. And I wanted to first and foremost congratulate all of the Lodestar Award winners. And there are 3 of them that are near and dear to my heart. Of course, 2 of them are located in my district, Levin Furniture and Sheetz. Both, in fact, the Sheetz corporate headquarters is here in Altoona, and Sheetz began in the city of Altoona. And then St. Francis University is the 3rd, my alma mater in Loretto, Pennsylvania. And it is not surprising to me at all that these 3 organizations are Lodestar Award winners, because I will say to you that all 3 of them are outstanding community citizens and corporate citizens, and are vital parts of our local area and of our region, and contribute so much to the quality of life that we have here in this part of Pennsylvania. And I couldn't be happier for them and for all of the other Lodestar Award winners, and I commend them and congratulate them on their awards. It's interesting, about 10 years ago, actually it was about 8 years ago, I guess, in 2014, my wife and I were traveling through Europe, and we were on a train, and we were traveling through Germany. And I remember as we were traveling across the countryside in Germany, looking out, and I swear that every building, every farmhouse had solar panels on them. And I thought it was remarkable. And I said to my wife, I said, I don't think there's a square inch of roof in Germany that doesn't have a solar panel on it. And we stopped, we were in the city, I think it was Munich, and I was talking to one of the local people about it. And I said, I see solar panels on everything here in Germany. And he told me at that time, and I don't know if he was correct or not, but he told me at that time that upwards of half of their energy was being generated by solar. And I said to my wife at that time, I said, why can't we do that in Pennsylvania? Why can't we do that in the United States? Why can't we have this sort of penetration of the energy market by solar, and give us that kind of energy being produced cleanly from the sun? And I'll never forget that, how it's stuck in my mind. But I do think that it's great to see the economic development and the jobs that can be created, the jobs that already exist, and the potential for increased employment in the industry. It's great to see that farms can be preserved as a result of solar energy. And I think it's also really important, you diversify your retirement account, you diversify your investments. I think it's really important, especially nowadays, that we do diversify our energy market. If you look at Europe with the situation with Ukraine, and you look even here domestically at the ups and downs of the gas market, and those sorts of economic shocks that can affect parts of the energy market can be lessened and can be perhaps softened if we diversify. So that it's just like a stock portfolio. When one part of the energy market is doing well, it lifts the other boats up. If you're too reliant on 1 or 2 sources of energy, and there's a shock for some reason to those 1 or 2 sources of energy, it can drag the entire energy market down. So I think that solar it's an important piece of that diversified energy market. It's my hope that it will become an even more prominent and important piece of that diversified energy market as we move forward, not just because of the economic benefits and the jobs and the farm preservation, but also because it can help be a buffer on those shocks. And we all know how widely and wildly energy markets can move and how suddenly that can happen. And so to the extent we can diversify those markets and have those sorts of stopgaps in place where other parts of the energy market can pick up the slack if necessary, and step in because prices have soared, let's say, for energy in another part of the market. I think that's a good thing for all of us involved. I also think that you're going to see much more acceptance of solar and really of all alternative and clean energy sources amongst our younger generation. A lot of folks, I turned 60 in March, a lot of folks my age, we grew up on fossil fuels, and solar and power and those sorts of things really weren't part of the equation in the world that we kind of grew up in and uh, remember from when we were youngsters. But the young kids nowadays really are much more green, and they're much more, I think, environmentally aware. They're much more attuned to things like climate change, and they want a world where energy is cleaner, where energy is greener, and where there's going to be less damage done to the environment and less damage done to the climate. And I think that you're going to find that that younger generation, they're going to be even more strongly advocates for this sorts of energy. And I look forward to solar and alternative energy growing the market and providing all those benefits that I've been talking about here to all of us moving forward. And I can't say how much I really appreciate the work that you do, the outreach that you do. You're getting into the schools. I think it's great. And what you're doing to really help diversify our market, protect our farmland, develop economically, create jobs. And I think literally and figuratively, there's a bright future for solar energy here in America and here in the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania. And I'm happy to help out in any way I can so that these good benefits that I've been talking about can be brought here to the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania. And I'm really proud of Sheetz and Levin Furniture and St. Francis and all of the award winners here tonight. And can't say enough about their leadership on these issues. So with that, I'm going to get out of here before I pass out, and wish you all a good afternoon and rest of the evening. And again, congratulations to everybody. Thank you very much for the invitation. And I look forward to seeing some of you down in Harrisburg soon.
Absolutely. Thank you so much, Representative Schmitt. We'll be reaching out to you, and we're so happy to be able to work with you going forward and appreciate your remarks. And I don't want to keep you. We want you to be safe. So please
Okay.
don't want to kick you off, but we definitely want you to stay safe.
It's good to see all of you. Take care, and hopefully I'll see some of you soon.
Great. Take care. Happy Thanksgiving.
You too.
Well, we're so glad that the representative could join us and in a precarious situation, it sounds like. So I'm glad that he's getting out in time. um, let's see. And from here, we'll start into our recognizing our Lodestar awardees. And we want to start with Western Pennsylvania Conservancy. And we're really excited to give them this award because, well, for lots of reasons, but they went through the first round of our Get Solar program. And also, I know that Ed Johnstonbaugh also worked on this project as well. And I think that is Justin going to say a few words?
No, I'm
Oh,
here, Sharon. Mike
oh,
Kazemchak.
thanks, Mike.
Yep.
Thank you. Do you want to introduce yourself and take it from here? And I think Gretchen's has a video too to play.
Yeah, I was able to make it. I have a 5 o'clock commitment, so I have to jump off too, and I apologize for that. I had no gas leak, so I'm okay there. But I have a 5 o'clock commitment. But yeah, thanks, Sharon. And as you mentioned, I wanted to give you a shout out for you and the PA Solar Center for the Get Solar grant that we received. That was really what got the ball rolling with this whole project and really paved the way for us to move forward. We didn't know anything about solar, talked about it for a long time, and that grant really helped us educate ourselves and learn about the possibilities here at Falling Water, and was extremely helpful. And Ed, I can't say enough about your assistance during this whole process. And I'd never heard of a PPA before this whole thing started and wasn't sure I could understand it, but you really helped with that whole process and were there every step of the way. And we can't thank you enough for your assistance and leadership in making this happen. But thank you again to both of you. So this array, it's owned by the Western Pennsylvania Conservancy, but I think most folks know Falling Water is part of the Western Pennsylvania Conservancy. So the array is located on about a half an acre on property, probably about a quarter mile as the crow flies from Falling Water itself, the house itself. You can't see the array from Falling Water. It is on the way to one of our buildings that we use for educational programs. So there's kind of a nice educational component. Every group that goes back to that facility will see the array. I know it's generated a lot of conversation with those groups, and we've taken a number of groups up to see it as well. So one of the silver linings of this project is the educational piece, because we do have so much education happening on the site. So as I mentioned, this is a PPA. It offsets about 25% of our total electricity use, and that's really all we could feed back into the grid. We would have loved to do more, but with the grid here in rural Fayette County, that was all we could do. Kind of a cool coincidence is that 25% offsets about the same amount as the falling water house and guest house use in a year. So it's a nice coincidence that it's offsetting what the original Frank Lloyd Wright house uses in a year for electricity. So that's kind of a cool side note on the project. But we couldn't be happier with how things worked out. I talked to Ecogy Energy, who owns the facility, and they're pleased with the results. It's producing at about 102% of what they were projecting. So that's all good. And with electricity prices going up this year, we're saving even more money than we'd anticipated. So that's yet another silver lining of the project. So thank you again, Sharon and Ed, and thank you for the award. We appreciate it.
Thanks, Mike. And so here, I'm gonna actually share my screen. You guys have some great drone footage that, oh, Sharon, can you give me permission to share my screen? Sorry, yeah, because I had logged off. You gave it to me and then I had to log off. Thank you. Okay. There we go. Can you guys see that?
It's kind of squished. Oh, there you go.
Okay, so there's no sound. So
there's no sound.
Right. Yeah, you guys gave me like a little narrative that it might be a little redundant of you just gave a great talk that's probably a lot better than this, but here, I'll just read through this real quick. Falling Water entered into a power purchase agreement with Ecogy Energy to provide 250,000 kilowatt hours of electricity annually from a solar array installed on the Falling Water property. The array will offset approximately 25% of Falling Water's total annual electricity use, and the project was installed by Groundhog Solar of Altoona. Ecogy Energy, based in Brooklyn, New York, has been designing, developing, financing, owning, and operating commercial and community solar systems, since 2010, and currently has over 40 systems in their portfolio across 9 states, the District of Columbia, and the Caribbean. Groundhog Solar has been installing residential and commercial solar energy systems since 2010 and has completed 95 projects throughout Pennsylvania. Over the 25-year term of the PPA, Falling Water will save approximately $5,000 per year in electricity costs, and the array consists of 352 bifacial panels covering approximately half an acre. The array was installed in a retired agricultural field. The area around the array is maintained as meadow habitat for wildlife. Great. Mike, is there anything else you wanted to add, or?
No, I mean, you could see from the drone footage that you can't see it from the road. It's in a fairly isolated location, but like I said, it does get high visibility from people that come for our programming. So the drone footage I thought was a nice way to see how it fits into the landscape.
Yeah, it's beautiful. Okay, well, great. Well, thank you so much, Mike, and congratulations. I'll be sending your award certificate and everybody else's award certificates over email.
Okay, thank you.
Thanks, Mike. It's a really exciting project.
Yeah. All right. So let's see.
Oh, there were some pictures. Sorry about that.
Yeah. St. Francis University. As you may have noticed, and as we talked about earlier, more and more educational institutions across the K through higher education spectrum have been recognizing the benefits of solar for managing their often tight budgets, but also as a learning opportunity for their patrons and students. Such is the case with St. Francis University. They have such a great story, which I'll let them tell through their video. Michael Sell, their Institute for Energy Project Coordinator, should be here tonight. Michael, are you here?
He is.
I am.
Okay. Hi, Mike.
evening.
How are you?
Hello, doing well. Thanks for having me.
Of course.
Thanks for being here.
Yeah. So how about I show your video first, Mike, and then you can add anything you'd like. How does that sound?
Sounds great. Yep.
All right. Okay. So let me share my screen again. I think this one's it. Okay. Can you guys see that? Oh, wait, let me start it from the beginning.
For many years, the Institute for Energy, an outreach center of St. Francis University, has worked to be a reliable source of energy information for the community. Recognizing that many people in rural Western Pennsylvania have never been inside a building with solar panels, the idea to build a solar-powered classroom on wheels was born. In 2017, the Institute transformed an 8 by 20 foot tiny house shell into a sustainable energy educational space that could be taken on the road to be used as a tangible teaching platform for sustainable energy solutions. The unit features a 1.68 kilowatt solar array, that's 6 280 watt panels, connected to a lead acid battery storage system, allowing for off-grid functioning. The unit provides electricity to highly efficient LED lighting and appliances, and powers the fan in our main heating source, an EPA-certified low-emissions wood pellet stove. The project has drawn much interest and excitement as it has traveled to schools and community events around Pennsylvania. We look forward to continuing our educational outreach through this mobile laboratory, as well as with a new solar array that is scheduled to be installed outside of the new Connors Family Fine Arts Center at SFU next year. The Institute would like to acknowledge the many organizations and individuals who make our work possible. Thank you.
It's just so great. Michael, is there anything you'd like to add to that?
Just thank you for the recognition. It's really great to be involved with this and getting the word out. And so thanks to you guys and also to the other award winners here tonight. Congratulations.
Well, thank you, Michael. Congratulations to you. And that's so great. You guys are literally preaching the solar gospel.
Yep, it's a fun opportunity. Sometimes when in classrooms, kids will say, are you, like this is your job, you get paid to do this. And it's, really kind of an exciting and unique opportunity. So it's great. So yeah, thank you.
Okay, thank you, Michael. All right. Well, our
Thanks,
next.
Mike.
Oh, sorry, Sharon, did you?
No, I just wanted to say thank you and congratulations, Michael. It's good to see you and recognize you guys for a long time and working in renewable energy and education around, and your wind, long time wind resource as well at the university. So very much appreciated for many, many years.
Yep. Thank you.
All right. Okay, so that brings us to our next category for solar developers. We're going to honor a great solar developer in the region, Green Solar Systems. And as Sharon touched on earlier, not only do solar developers help organizations go solar, but they are job creators too. And those jobs are across the employment spectrum, from installation and maintenance to engineering and sales. So the more solar grows in Pennsylvania, so will the economy. So Green Solar Systems is represented here tonight by Ryan Vesley. Ryan, are you here?
I am.
Hi, Ryan. Thanks for coming.
Thanks for having me.
Of course. So we have some great photos that you sent us. And did you want to maybe tell us a bit about your company and your projects while we show them?
Yeah, I'll tell you a little bit of background and kind of, what got me started in the industry. I was really interested in solar. I had a desire to provide clean energy alternatives in our area and invest into a market that, at that time really was at its beginning, through hard work, determination, and most importantly, my great employees and support group around me. You know, we've found a way to focus on quality work, customer satisfaction, and you know, maybe we're not marketing as much as others or as vocal or as out there, but you know, we've really let our work, you know, kind of stand up against, you know, others and show that, hey, we do quality work in the area.
Absolutely. Great. So what are we looking at right here? What is this?
Yeah, so that's about 38.4 kW. We just finished it the last week of October, I believe. So it's a residential project. You can see it's a farm just south of I-70, kind of south of Smith, then along the Youghiogheny River. Customer, you know, is not really pro solar, you know, in the past, but came to me this year and was like, you know, I think my kids are going to want EV cars and this and that. And, you know, I think maybe got a little spooked by, you know, the increase in electric prices this year as well. So the gentleman and I, you know, started discussing, you know, how we could save him some money and install solar that, you know, as you can see, he didn't really want to look at it from his back porch, but, you know, so we got a little bowl in there. And I helped him plant some of those pine trees up there, you know, so they grow big, and, you know, that way when he wants to look at it, he can walk down and look at it. But yeah, this is just a residential system. You know, obviously a larger home. He runs his business out of his barns as well. So he has really two uses going on there. So we were trying to find a solution to offset his grid usage and reduce his reliance on the grid and reduce those bills. So yeah, so that's about 38 kW of solar, 3 inverters there. Each DC disconnect actually on the array runs up to an inverter. I should have included that, but so I apologize. We've been quite busy. You know, fourth quarter stuff for us developers. But yeah, this is a really nice project. And then there's also those other arrays. We just finished those last week. That's another property, just another homeowner looking to offset their electric bills. You know, we found a, you know, pretty nice setup between these bifacial panels, the Q-Cell 480s, and using some string inverters to help save them money on ground mounts versus, you know, utilizing, I guess, the more complicated solar edge, more expensive end phase with the rapid shutdown type features that are really required on roof installs nowadays, but not on ground mounts.
Cool. Well, does anyone have any questions for any of our winners so far? It's not just me, just
Ryan, when did you start your business?
Well, I started my business in 2011 in January.
Right.
Prior to that, I was working for another local installer starting in 2009. This is kind of a side gig at first.
Yeah, you're one of the early entries into the solar business world in Western Pennsylvania.
Certainly.
And I did put back on your slide, the NABCEP certification. I just wanted to mention, you see at the bottom left there, that's the North American Board of Certified Energy Practitioners. And it's really a great indicator of people who are very knowledgeable and have taken the time to study for that certification, and really shows a commitment. So if you look at our directory of solar installers, we only allow people who have NABCEP to be a part of that directory because we think that's a good indicator for helping people choose them. So just wanted to recognize that you had that, Ryan.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
Well, thanks again. And I know this is a hard time for solar installers. Everybody's trying to get things installed by the end of the year to get the tax credits. So
yeah.
The developers are just pressured in such a big way. So thanks for being here.
Hey, no worries. Thanks for having me. I appreciate you guys.
congrats.
Thanks.
Well, next up, we have our very first individual award that we've given out so far. to Ed Johnstonbaugh. And as Ryan's been doing this for a long time, Ed's been doing it even longer. So I do have a little bio that Ed's provided us that I wanted to share to give you a little, just a little hint of that experience. But Ed got his hands dirty working on solar for the first time in 1980. So it's been around for a long time. You're probably 10 when you started that, right? Of course, that was a hot water system, solar PV or photovoltaics, electric for solar. In those years was limited to pocket calculators and spacecraft. He spent 25 years working in the electric utility industry in a variety of roles employed by West Penn Power and later by the New York Power Authority. In 2008, Ed closed the utility chapter of his working life and went to work for Penn State University as an educator focused on renewable energy development. During his time with Penn State, Ed earned a master's degree in renewable energy and sustainability systems. Ed helped many solar PV projects of all sizes get organized, pointed in the right direction, built and commissioned. And in 2020, he founded his own company, Exodus Renewables, as a vehicle to continue his work upon retirement. It doesn't sound like you're retired. Ed retired from Penn State earlier this year and remains committed to his work with Exodus. Lives in Washington County, Pennsylvania, in a home he and his wife designed and built that is geothermally heated and cooled with 8 kilowatts of solar PV capacity. He and his wife, Patrice, have 2 adult sons and a dog named Cody. And we did lump you in with the Westmoreland because I know you worked many years in the region, but you're known and have helped projects all over the state and beyond. So we ask Ed to come and share a few words of wisdom with us, and thanks for being here, Ed.
Well, I'm happy to have the honor and privilege to talk to the group, Sharon. I appreciate the recognition and also, see many familiar faces from folks that, I've crossed paths with, yourself included, over the years. And the interesting thing that has impacted me over the years, working with in the electric utility industry, is the advancement of the technology. I did send a couple slides and brings up the question, how did we end up here? And that's what I want to talk about on this slide here. On the left-hand side, we see I'm back in the 1900s, which is something I learned about when I was working for the New York Power Authority. I'd go out and work with the 51 municipal electric cooperatives and rural electric municipal systems and rural electric cooperatives in the state there. And I found out most of them dated back to the turn of the 20th century. And in those days, everything, of course, was distributed generation. Nothing was interconnected. And of course, working in the industry, it dawned on me from that experience that in the course of the 20th century, we took major advantage of economies of scale. Everything got centralized, everything became interconnected. We built massive transmission systems and transmit voltages at over 100,000 volts in many areas, and we distributed around our neighborhoods and well over 1,000 volts as well. We went to this bigger is better, centralized systems world. But then a funny thing happened. Technology started to really evolve. So I put a picture here in the middle of the slide that shows a bag phone. I don't know how many in the group here today remembers a bag phone, but before we got to cell phones, there was this 2 or 3 year period around 1990 when the technology was just about ready to break out. the communication technology. And to get the ball rolling, they sold a product called a bad phone. Kind of looks like the funny device you see there. But after that, of course, cell phone technology went wild, as did a lot of other micro technologies, microelectronic technologies, not the least of which was solar. I mentioned in my bio there that, you know, I got my hands dirty working in thermal systems. You know, that's what we had back in the late 70s and early 80s, because the micro technologies had not caught up or became advanced enough to really launch a solar PV world. But then, of course, I put down there 2012 as when we really saw module technology and inverter technology really start to advance more rapidly. And along with that, of course, economies of scales in manufacturing in that world drove down prices, and we've all benefited from the expansion that the technology advancement and the decrease in costs have provided. And here we sit in the year 2022, and I believe that we're seeing the shift in the structure of the conventional electric utility grid start to move toward decentralization. Every module that gets mounted out there, installed in the world out there, every system that comes online is, after all, a distributed generation unit. Just like at the start of the electricity world back in 1900, everything was decentralized. So we're just starting to see this decentralization and this transition, hence the name of my company, Exodus Renewables, this movement or migration to a world of electricity structure of a different design, where systems are decentralized. Can we flip to the next slide? So Exodus Renewables, as I mentioned, got its start first as Future Times Energy. We had the AEPS Act signed in 2004. I went home one day while working at West Penn Power after reading about Community Energy, a Eastern Pennsylvania-based energy business that built solar, or I'm sorry, it was building wind at the time, was marketing renewable energy credits. And I said, what? How can you sell the credit or the greenness of a product? That's just ridiculous. I went home that day, I slept on it, got up the next morning, went into the office with my two colleagues and told them I had the greatest idea. I've been introduced to one of the greatest ideas, removing the renewable attributes from renewable energy and selling it as a credit. Hence, I've founded Future Times Energy shortly after the alternative energy portfolio legislation was put in force in February of 2005, with 4 small systems that I was familiar with. When I came to Penn State upon leaving the renewable or the New York Power Authority, I brought Future Times Energy under the Penn State umbrella, where it stayed for 12 years until the year 2020, when we were shown the door. And at that time, Future Times Energy became Exodus Renewables. Now, the focus of Future Times was always, first and foremost, making sure that renewable energy credits, or as we call them in Pennsylvania, alternative energy credits, could find a home, could be monetized. In this world, I've always advised people interested in renewables, and solar in particular, you cannot leave anything on the table. And that includes the renewable energy credit. And as of today, or this time of the year in 2022, Exodus and its predecessor, Future Times, has done well over $1 million worth of renewable energy credit sales, where that's the amount of money that has gone back to people, early adopters, who have made the decision to go the solar route or do other renewables, and taking advantage of that credit is a means of leveling the playing field between fossil generation and renewables. So you've moved forward with that in mind, that you can't leave anything on the table. And Exodus Renewables is there to do as was described by Mike from the Western Pennsylvania Conservancy, to help you get through the hurdles, answer the questions that you don't understand, and get you pointed in the right direction and get that project built. And then we're there over the long haul to make sure that you take advantage of that renewable energy credit benefit and help you work on the next project. With that, I'm going to say thanks again for the recognition. I really appreciate it. If there's anything I can do for anyone, that's my contact information. And you know, I've worked with many people over the course of my almost 40 years in the industry. I appreciate all the help I've got over the years, and all the people who have been brave and taken the next step. And let's keep doing it, because I think the party's just getting started. Thank you.
Hear, hear. Definitely agree with you. Well, thank you so much, Ed. And I appreciate all those words and the wisdom that you've brought along all those years, and all the people that you've helped. So thank you for your long career, and it's still continuing. So glad to hear about that. And the importance of those renewable credits is in that back to policy again, is so key to driving some of this investment. So we always encouraging you to reach out to your legislators to tell them that story, that you and how it impacts you as a solar owner. Well, the next project is actually you had your hands in too, Ed.
Yeah,
do you want to introduce them? Or?
Yeah, let me talk a little bit. In my time at Penn State, I had the good fortune to come across the Municipal Authority of Westmoreland County. For the members of the group that may not know, in Pennsylvania, as municipal authority goes, the Municipal Authority of Westmoreland County is really the 800-pound gorilla. Matt Junker, I think, is with us today. And I know that I crossed paths with Matt over my years at Penn State. And he's going to tell us about a system that I started promoting with the authority 3 or 4 years ago now. And that's up and running. And let's hear that story, Matt.
Well, thanks for the history, Ed. So a little bit about the water industry that is pertinent to solar. The water industry is tremendously power hungry. We need a lot of electricity to pump water from where we find it low lying in rivers up to our holding tanks. And the wastewater industry isn't a whole lot more efficient. We have to use a lot of electricity to pump the wastewater around. And in this case, we have about a 11.5 acre project that is near our New Stanton wastewater plant. It's 3 megawatts, and it almost completely replaces the power that we need to process the wastewater for most of southern Hempfield Township, Youngwood, New Stanton, and places like that. And, you know, thanks to Ed, he put us in contact with Soul River Capital, who built the project. And we threw the switch on it last summer, and it's been working flawlessly ever since. And, you know, thankfully, we're able to buy electricity from it at significantly lower than market rates. One thing I would like to mention is that it was completed under the state's revised virtual net aggregated metering program. That's a lot of, that's a jaw cracker, but essentially what that means is we can be a few miles away from our property and still, you know, sponsor the project, get credit for it. Because we have all these low-lying properties, they aren't extraordinarily well suited for solar. You know, there's a lot in floodplains where it's difficult to build as well. So because of this change in the law that I'm sure that you helped with, you know, Sharon and Gretchen, you know, we were able to do this and, you know, completely replace the energy that we use at one of our plants.
It's really exciting, Matt, and we cannot take credit for that. That wasn't what a developer who took that all the way to the state Supreme Court challenging that, and but we're definitely championing it too, and glad that you, along with Ed's help, were able to take advantage. I think one of the first, if not the first, to actually use that particular process that was opened up by that court decision.
Yeah, it's very helpful. You know, we own a significant amount of property, but we don't particularly want to, around our reservoirs, we don't particularly want to cut down trees. You know, and near our plants, because they're so low lying, it may not work out. But this puts a whole new spin on things and may help the industry to grow.
And that's really great. And I think your point about how much water management, how much energy water management takes is so important. And people are often so very surprised by it. They don't necessarily put those things together.
It's the number one bill we have in our authority is electricity.
Yep. Yeah. So thank you for going down this route, and hopefully you're helping your ratepayers you hedge those increases in pricing too from the actions that you've taken.
Thank you.
Gretchen, did you have more information too, or?
Yeah, so Matt gave me an info sheet ahead of time, but I think he hit on all the points in the info sheet. So thanks,
Great.
John.
So, thanks, Matt.
Thanks,
Yeah,
Matt.
thanks for the great introduction, Ed.
All right. Well,
Oh,
great.
there's another picture, I guess, of the array.
Yes.
Very cool. It's huge. All right.
Yeah, we'll just add one point that we didn't make there. That is the AEPS Act limit of a behind the meter system that we're looking at there. That's as big as you can go.
Wow.
So I'm not sure if
3 megawatts.
That holds the record. Well, it's 3 megawatts AC, so it's slightly larger.
Yeah.
On a DC side, on the
Mhm.
DC side.
4.3 or something.
Yeah, so I'm not sure if that's the record for Western Pennsylvania or in our multi-county region, but I think it is.
I think it is in the region, and then there's some other big things being built right now. But
Yeah.
yes, it was the winner definitely up until now, I think.
Thank you.
All right, well, cool. Well, again, congratulations, Matthew. I'll be sending you your award certificates soon. All right, well, let's move on to the next category, our business awards. More and more businesses, big and small, are seeing the value in going solar, and not just for the environment, but for the sake of saving money, which can then lead to future company expansion. Businesses obviously save a lot of money by going solar, and when they contract with local companies for installation, they create local jobs. So first on the agenda, we have Epic Metals. We have David Landis, their president, here. Hi, David.
Hello, Gretchen.
There you are. Thanks for coming. How about I show this beautiful video you put together first, and then I'll open the floor for you to add anything you'd like.
Great.
All right, let me share my screen.
Yeah, thanks, David. And I think, well, all three of these award winners are companies that I don't think people necessarily like. Sustainability comes out in the first thought of them. So you're really just demonstrating, solar greatness here.
Yeah. Here, sorry, can you guys see that video?
Not yet. It looks like it's loading.
Okay, yeah.
There it is.
Play.
Founded in 1968, Epic Metals began its operations in a trolley barn that was constructed over 120 years ago. Epic recycled this trolley barn into its first manufacturing plant. The former trolley barn, located in Rankin, Pennsylvania, continues to function as one of Epic Metals' manufacturing plants. Epic Metals manufactures roof and floor deck sealing systems for commercial construction projects throughout the United States. Epic continues to modernize its Rankin plant and installed solar panels on 2 additions to the building in 2019. The cupola of the Rankin plant had a new roof installed in 2021. And Scalo Solar finished installing solar panels on this area in 2022. Epic Metals began transitioning to solar power in 2010 with its first solar panel installation on the roof of its office building in Braddock, Pennsylvania. That year, Epic generated only 271 kilowatts of solar energy. In the years since, Epic Metals has installed solar panels at manufacturing locations in Florida, Greensburg, Pennsylvania, and a parking canopy in Braddock, Pennsylvania. These additional solar panels allowed Epic Metals to generate over 520,000 kilowatts of electricity from the sun in 2021. Epic Metals has also been transitioning away from burning gasoline in internal combustion engines for transportation. Epic Metals has installed 11 electric vehicle charging stations at 2 of its facilities. Epic encourages its employees to transition from burning gasoline by providing up to a $3,000 incentive to each employee that purchases an electric or plug-in hybrid vehicle. 9 employees have used this incentive to make the transition, eliminating the burning of over 14,800 gallons of gasoline. The Epic Metals office in Braddock, Pennsylvania is heated and cooled primarily through a geothermal system. Epic also generates electricity from 3 wind-stacked vertical access wind turbines along the Monongahela River. Epic's goal is to operate entirely on electricity generated from the sun or wind and to only use the grid as a backup source of electricity. Epic has achieved this goal at its Florida manufacturing location by supplying more electricity to the grid than it's consumed for over 62 months. We are very proud and thankful for receiving the Pennsylvania Solar Center's Lodestar Award for solar energy leadership.
So beautiful. Hey, David, did you have anything you wanted to add?
Again, I would just like to say that we're quite honored to have received the Lodestar Award from the Pennsylvania Solar Center. And, one of the books that I read that my daughter actually gave me was written by Lester Brown, and it's titled The Great Transition, and it was published in 2015. And I'll just read one quotation that I'm quite fond of that's in this book. It says, "The sunlight striking the Earth's surface in just 1 hour delivers enough energy to power the world economy for 1 year." And so that really tells you what we have, you know, to harness that's out there that we really aren't taking advantage of. And I'd love to see us, you know, just continue to grow the solar industry in Pennsylvania.
Thank you, David. We agree with you. And you're such a great example in what you're doing at your company to show that that's possible. Like I said, I think that a lot of more traditional companies or things that you're doing, people don't necessarily think that you can do renewables with what you're doing. And I think you're really showing that that's not true. And I don't know, what do you usually say to people when they're surprised that you're doing that or able to do that?
I say even Epic is still at the infancy. You know, yes, we have one facility that we operate where we just use the grid as a backup, and you know, we have a long way to go at our other facilities, and certainly, as the video says, it's our goal that at some point in the relatively near future that we have all of our energy needs provided by the sun, and just rely on the grid as a backup for those days when it's not sunshiny, or those days that you know, we're operating in the evenings at night and we need power.
Well, thanks for showing that it's so possible.
Sure.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
All right. Okay, so next we have Levin Furniture. Let's see. So Robert Levin, the president, unfortunately cannot make it tonight. He last minute had something else come up. So I do think we have Claudia Zito. Claudia, are you here?
I'm sorry, I'm trying to advance slides, but I seem to have a pause.
That's okay. I need to
There it
share
is. Go ahead. Sorry.
Oh, sure. Well, that's a cool photo, first of all, right? Whenever they were installing. So, so unfortunately, we don't have anyone from the company here, but they did send over some information and a fun little flip the switch video. So let me show.
And Gretchen, I recognize that Greg Winks is here. And Greg, I don't want to put you on the spot, but I know that I believe that you were involved in ushering this project through. But
yes,
you don't feel obligated to say anything.
Yeah, and I see that Will Brown, my business partner at Soulbridge Energy Advisors, was also is also on. We were active working with Robert throughout the whole project, advising in the early stages of feasibility. And you know, he was very proud and is very proud of continuing the sustainability initiatives at Levin Furniture throughout their operations at their distribution center. And you know, upon taking the initiative for his own home, his first question back to us was, okay, now we got to get solar on top of our distribution center. At the time, this is a 1 megawatt system DC that was installed at the time about a year ago when it was received PTO. It was the largest solar system for a retail business in the western part of the state of Pennsylvania. I don't know really, you know, how much further, you know, I can say speaking on Robert's behalf, but I know that they have a very strong sustainability initiative and focus at Levin Furniture.
Excellent. Yeah, you hit on a lot of the points that I have here, actually. Sharon, should I share my screen? Is there anything else for them after this slide? Okay. That's great.
Their
Thank you.
kick it or flip the switch slide, I believe.
Okay. Yeah.
Might be
And
in the video.
I will jump in and just say that in the middle there is Andy from Paradise Energy Solutions, who was the contractor that built the system.
Great.
Got it.
Thank you so much, Greg and Will.
Okay, here, let me show their flip the switch real quick. This one. Sorry. Which one are you? Let me see. Okay, good. I think. Can you guys see this?
Want to go count down from 5? 5. Yeah. Okay, so now what are we doing? Turn this way and move this up. Pull all the way up. Look at the big foot. Down from 5. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. All right. We have officially inaugurated the new 2021 solar system at Levin Furniture. Hooray! Now let's get chocolate and cookies.
Very good. And I am just looking at my notes here, and Robert confirmed that it was the largest installation by a retail company in Western PA. They believe that it was the first furniture company in the US to use solar power when they first installed their 2004 installation in Monroeville as well. That's so great. So they're here with us in spirit. Congratulations, Levin. All right, so moving on. So that brings us to our final Lodestar awardee, Sheetz. I believe Emily Loftus, a Sheetz energy engineer, is with us tonight. Emily, are you here?
Hi, everybody. This is Eric McCrum, Energy and Sustainability Manager for Sheetz here.
Oh, hi, Eric.
I think Emily's on too. Hello.
Thank you.
I have a crazy kid running around in the background, so I'm going to stay camera off. I apologize for that, but I think it's for the best.
No problem. All right, here, I have a great video from you guys too. So how about I show that? And so Eric, you're here. I think I saw that Nick had to, oh, Nick, are you still on as well? Hi, Nick Ruffner.
Hey, everybody, I'm here. I'm Nick Ruffner. I'm the Sheetz Public Relations Manager. Thank you, everybody, for welcoming us here tonight. And we're really excited about this award, and congratulations to all of the other award winners as well.
Thanks, Nick. All right, so how about I show your video first, and then if Emily or Eric or Nick, if you have anything to add, go for it. Let's see, let's do this again one last time. Here we go. Okay, can everyone see this? Okay.
I'm Eric McCrum, Energy and Sustainability Manager for Sheetz. We are honored to be a recipient of a Lodestar Award from the Pennsylvania Solar Center, focused on work in Blair and Westmoreland counties. Earlier this year, Sheetz announced a long-term partnership with Constellation, a leading provider of renewable energy solutions, to provide power for approximately 70% of our facilities in Pennsylvania with renewable energy, and enable the development of 3 solar farms that are set to begin operation in January of 2024. In specific terms, this agreement will help power more than 160 of our store locations in Pennsylvania, along with approximately 40 other Sheetz facilities. In total, it will help Sheetz avoid nearly 80,000 metric tons of carbon emissions annually, the equivalent of taking approximately 17,000 cars off the road, according to the US EPA. We're excited for this new partnership, but I'm proud to report that it's just one of many environmental initiatives underway now at Sheetz. That work includes using LED lighting, high-efficiency HVAC, and other measures at our stores, fast charging for electric vehicles at approximately 90 store locations, diverting food from landfills through our work with Feeding America, and the recycling of plastic, glass, and paper at more than 370 of our store locations. Congratulations to all of the other companies being honored here today, and a big thank you to the Pennsylvania Solar Center for the recognition of this important work.
Thank you, Eric. Sharon, I'm not sure, did we have anything on the slides on the slides for them.
I just pulled out the article, which you've all had mentioned here. Such big news to see Sheetz, leading the way, and also just another demonstration of how people can benefit from solar. Like, you're entering into this agreement that isn't necessarily right on site, but it's still powering, you're going to use that energy to power that much of your operations. And I think it's just another great example of how we can do solar and benefit from it in Pennsylvania. So thank you and congratulations. And I don't know if any of you, if you want to add more.
Yeah, I'll just
thank you
hop
so
in.
much.
Yeah, go ahead, Eric.
I was just going to add, I echo some of the sentiments that I heard earlier about, this was an uncharted territory for me. I had little to no knowledge of PPAs whenever we started this process, and we're fortunate to get to work with Constellation to stand this up and make it a reality. And we're excited for the ground to break and have these solar arrays live in Pennsylvania.
And I would just say on behalf of Sheetz, I want to thank Eric and Emily for all of their hard work on this initiative, and we congratulate all of the award winners.
Thank you. Can't wait to see the final products. Great, Sharon, I'll turn it over to you.
Thanks. I was having a problem with my mute button. Well, again, thank you. And I just, we are always excited to have these award ceremonies. And again, there's press going out. Some of you are doing your own press. And we will be continuing to lift up all of your efforts. I hope, Sheetz, you invite us to your groundbreaking, and so that we can, keep that momentum and messaging out there. But all of you, again, congratulations for walking this path, and like you are the pioneers, and there are many people who follow you, but we need the pioneers to show the new frontier. So thank you again, and thank you for spending your time with us today. And we look forward to hopefully partnering and reaching out to you in the future. And if you need anything from us, we're here to help you, or people who who also want to go solar, to spread the word in that way. So congratulations. I wish we were all together to raise our glasses, but we'll do that virtually. And we wish you all a very nice Thanksgiving, and we're grateful for you. So thank you.
Thank you. Congratulations.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Oh, and before you all go, if you have a minute, could we take a little screenshot, if you can put your your video on, so that we like to take a virtual group picture, if that's okay.
I don't know, Sharon.
No, you might not be able to do it. That's okay. We didn't tell people in time, I think. Oh, great. We have a couple of people. Hi. Well, cheers, and hi, Molly. And Molly, I wanted to recognize, I'm sorry, I didn't see you until just a minute ago, from Officer Jay Costa's office. So we really appreciate you being here, and thank you.
Sorry, I was having a little bit of trouble with my mute button, but absolutely. Thank you so much for having us. I'm sorry that the senator couldn't make it, but he is super, excited about all the great work that you guys are doing, and definitely nice to be here and celebrate that.
We always appreciate his support, and we love talking to Stephen about energy issues. So.
Oh, great.
Yes. All right. Well, thank you all. Have a nice night.
Thanks, everyone.
Thank you. See you.
Bye-bye.